him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello everybody, this is Paula Schaffner, and welcome back to On the Spot, and also welcome back to my guest host, Lisa Fernandes.
Hello, I'm glad to be back. This fun little episode really is both touching and adorable, because it combines a whole lot of hidden sentiments and a whole lot of slapstick. We got a lot of Marx Brothers.
Yes, there's a lot going on. You had previously come for one of the standout Rosalie episodes, and this is the last Rosalie episode until season 3. That is the first for Vernajean, and so we'll talk about that. But first I just want to read the IMDb summary. The episode is called Classroom Marriage, and the description is Freddie and Vernajean want to quit school to get married, so Mr. Kotter has them act out a marriage in class. This first aired on October 21st, 1975. Bob Lahendro directed again, but this time the writers were William Rayner and Miles Wilder. Rayner was born in Queens in 1920 and died in 1994. His first writing credit was for a movie called Snow Dog in 1950, but a few years after that he started writing sitcoms like My Little Margie, and then later he did McHale's Navy, My Three Sons, Gomer Pyle, Get Smart, The Flying Nun, Here's Lucy, 3 episodes of The Brady Bunch, different strokes, but then he switched over to sort of action comedy and ended his career with 33 episodes of The Dukes of Hazzard. Them Duke Boys. Miles Wilder was born in 1933 in New York City, and he died in 2010. His first writing credit was for an episode of Rebound in 1952, so he would have only been about 19 at the time. And he started writing sitcoms in the 60s, like The Patty Duke Show, and he soon teamed up with Rayner. And he did 55 episodes of Dukes of Hazzard, and his last credit was 2 episodes of the 1987 revival of Sea Hunt.
Ah, hey, memories.
Yes.
So
I don't know if we'll find any... Yes, exactly. So I don't know if we'll find any parallels to the Dukes of Hazzard or Brady Bunch. But as you said, there is definitely a lot of deliberate Marx Brothers tributes here. I'll talk about Vernee Watson when we get to her scene. We get a different kind of cold opening.
Yes, we do.
In this episode.
I thought it was very unique because we kind of start midstream. It almost feels like something was missing in a way, but it also works.
It's very slice of life.
It immediately plunges us into Gabe's dilemma here, and immediately plunges us into the marriage situations going on.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting out there on his fire escape, coping with the difficulties that his class has wrought on him over this past week.
Yeah, it starts out kind of normal. Julie comes out of the bathroom. For some reason, she's carrying 2 pillows out of the bathroom.
Yes.
She sits on the couch, so going to be going to bed soon.
Yes.
But then she sees Gabe out there, and he's holding a basketball.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's like a subtle hint,
It's random,
because Freddie is a basketball star, or if Gabe was playing basketball in the fire escape to de-stress.
Could it be either?
Yeah.
He's listening to the wind whistle through his shorts.
Yes, the audience really liked that. Yeah, so he's wearing shorts. It's the middle of the night. It's still pretty warm in Brooklyn, whatever time of year this is.
Yep.
We talked about earlier that they have a very small apartment, and so this is sort of like their porch. They are so poor that they sit on overturned milk crates.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
They have basically 1 room and a bathroom.
Yeah.
That's all they have. So that kind of makes sense. This is their porch. And much to their neighbor's consternation. There's a great bit coming up later. A neighbor rejected.
Well, I thought the neighbors were actually pretty tolerant considering what happens, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. See how late it is, too.
So besides the shorts that are catching the wind, he's wearing an off-white silk shirt with blue leaves on it, and that will figure into the scene in a while.
It's about to factor into the plot. He's very confused about everybody's behavior. Everybody's acting weird. F7 has shown up 3 days straight, and Barbarino hasn't tried to take over the school once.
Yeah, and in earlier episodes, there's a thing about Barbarino's power trip. Like in the pilot, he's very controlling, including of Arnold, and we start to see Arnold push back against that. And then also when Barbarino runs for class president, he basically wants to be a dictator.
Yeah, yeah. Generalissimo Barbarino. This isn't surprising.
Yeah.
Kind of amusing that he ends up in the future will be an orderly, possibly an RN, if he ever applies himself.
Yeah.
It's kind of amusing that's what he
Yeah.
ends up doing in the future because of the way he acts here. It actually kind of gets.
Well, but he dropped out of high school, so he probably doesn't have a lot of options.
Yep.
So Julie is very sympathetic, as always.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is kind of in the middle, so we hear that something's been going on all week. My guess is that this is Thursday because they go to school the next day.
Yeah.
She goes out to sit with him on the other milk crate. And not only is she sympathetic, but it's another scene where they're really sweet together and intimate. Like, she puts her hands on his bare knees.
Yeah, exactly. She does. Yeah, it's a very much a hint that they're a couple, that they have a warm and lively connection. She's trying to listen to him, trying to give him support.
Yeah.
I love the line, I'm the only teacher you know. She knows Woodman, who kind of counts at this point.
She says that he's the best teacher she knows, and he says he's the only teacher she knows.
Yeah, kind of wiggly there on that one.
Yeah, in the previous episode, Woodman teaches Kotter's class. He hasn't taught since, I think, Gabe was in high school, and now he's the vice principal.
Yep.
So, yeah, technically, Julie hasn't known him as a teacher, but it is a kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, it's kind of a technical. I'm calling him a technicality. It's a small thing.
Yeah. In later seasons, Julie gets more involved in school. In fact, she gets a job there, but I can kind of buy that she hasn't met the other staff besides Woodman.
Yeah, exactly. No, true enough.
One of the themes of this episode, and also the previous episode, is trust. He thinks he's a failure because the kids don't trust him and because they won't come to him with their problem.
And he's going to regret this very soon.
Yes. Well, because we had the whole thing where Rosalie told him he was butting in, and in this one, they're not coming to him with their problems, and then when they do, it's be careful what you ask for.
Exactly. If anything, he knows too much of everybody's business.
Yes. He does a Jacques Cousteau imitation with implied bestiality about pelicans.
Which, wow. Oh.
That the crew was getting too friendly with him, I think was the phrasing.
Yeah, exactly.
So normally we get the cold opening, there's a joke, has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. This, they do the credits, and then we come back and we pick up where we left off. So it's a different rhythm.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the joke comes at the end of the episode this time.
Yeah.
It's a unique thing. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's both, but yeah.
Is this the first one that they ever do at the end of the episode? I know it does happen later, but this is the first one they ever do.
Oh, yeah, no, there have mostly been cold opening and tag jokes.
Yeah. I was wondering if this is the very first one that comes at the end of the episode, because I know it becomes a thing throughout the front. Sometimes at the beginning, sometimes at the end.
He says that nobody has ever trusted him in his whole life. Even his father didn't trust him. And when Gabe was growing up, his dad wanted a receipt for his allowance.
That's a great line.
And then Julie says she trusts him, and he says that she's supposed to because they're married.
In short, she's required to.
Yeah, and she remembers the vows they wrote for their wedding, love, honor, and trust, which is just very 70s.
Yes, no obey.
Oh no, Julie wouldn't stand, Even though she's, at this point, basically a housewife, I can't picture her going for obey.
Not a traditionalist in any respect, so no, she wouldn't go for that. Oh, my goodness.
So, I just want to mention he strokes her hair. I thought that was really sweet.
Oh, that's cute. That's sweet. The intimacy here is very nice.
Yeah, and he says that his father told her to ask for a receipt at the wedding. And she says she still has the receipt.
Oh, God. Doesn't it become a thing that her parents don't like him? I swear that's addressed.
I don't remember that. They show up, and his dad shows up.
Yes.
She's from Nebraska. Her parents are very stereotypical Hicks, from what I recall.
Yes.
And then her sister shows up later and gets involved with Juan, her kid sister.
Yeah, that encourages his interest in being a veterinarian. I always like that episode.
Oh, I forgot that part. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, pregnant hamster, I think.
I thought they liked him. I don't know. Now that you say that, I don't remember.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. Well, time will tell.
I think it's the previous episode. Julie asks Gabe why his mother never liked her. And that leads to this joke about it.
Okay, his mom hates her. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Maybe something had to be up there.
Well, still pressuring them to have kids.
Yes. She'll get her wish soon enough, but not yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
They kiss, and then the phone rings.
Honey, it's Boom Boom. That's great. How many Boom Booms do you know? Oh, exchange. It's shaking fine. How's it shaking with you?
Yeah, it's one of those one-sided conversations. We don't hear Freddie yet. But we can picture him asking, hey, Mr. Kotter, how's it shaking?
Yeah.
And he tells Freddie that he can trust him.
Yes. exactly.
So I think he's just so happy that after this week he's been having, Freddie at least trusts him.
Yes, that's a good thing for him to hear.
He tells Julie that Freddie Washington and Vernajean Williams are coming right over here. And so we've never heard of Vernajean before we get her full name.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, hurry up, get dressed, hurry up.
Yeah, because they're going to be right over, and so she's putting on a robe, and right as someone knocks.
Yeah.
And Gabe says, I wonder what took him so long.
And here comes the trench coat parade.
Yes.
First it's Vinny.
Yeah, and he's in a fedora, sunglasses, and trench coat.
Yeah.
And he tells Julie, quick, shut the door. I don't want nobody to see me. And so this becomes a running joke.
Yeah.
I just have to mention, the applause includes whistles and squeals, and you can see Travolta taking that in, because this is the first, I don't know the order of the taping.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's getting that reaction from the audience, and that would just build over time, and he'd become this superstar.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see Travolta's head turn a little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. His first encounter with the fame that's about to completely change his life. Exactly. Gabe delivers unto him a random Bogart impression.
Yes.
Which he doesn't get or understand.
Yeah, he does the what where thing. He mentions the Maltese Falcon. And he also mentions the Late Late Show.
Yep.
You're younger than I am. Was the Late Late Show still a thing? Because by that point, when you were growing up, there was more cable and we didn't have so much of like regular TV doing late.
Like, the 1990s, the meaning of it was being changed. The Late Late Show indicated David Letterman, it indicated Conan O'Brien, it indicated Craig Ferguson, it indicated a whole bunch of talk show stuff. Versus being a movie. Usually it was movies that were airing overnight.
Yeah.
To A, fill up space, and B, because nobody had videotapes.
Right.
Nobody had cable, nobody had streaming back then. So they would air movies, older movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And people would watch them in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, so I kind of caught the tail end of that in the 80s. There was cable, but you still had TV shows on until like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yes.
They were starting to phase out the thing that used to be like 3 or 4 hours of dead air, and then they'd have the test pattern in the morning around 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That was more my childhood, like around this time, 75. And then by the 80s, that was fading, but I was just curious. But exactly. Yeah. You described it well. That's what it was.
It was an interesting point, I will say.
Yeah.
We did have, like, cable coming in.
Yeah.
Interestingly, our linear channels started going 24 hours more often around here, because they used to just completely cut off, or they used to split time with what eventually became UHF channels.
Infomercials.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And infomercials, too, which still exist, are not as fun.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I miss the ones that were for TV and for music, but Time Life has gone under, so we don't get those anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Sweat Hog characters are about a decade older than I am, and Kotter is about 20 years older. More than my generation, they really picked up on these old movies, and so it saturates this show, not just in Kotter's imitations, but that Barbarino and the others are going to dress up for intrigue. They're going to put on a fedora and trench coat in Brooklyn on apparently very hot night when Kotter can be out in shorts at midnight.
Yeah, I know.
And this passes for reality.
Yeah. Even worse is going to come up when we get deeper into this and Horshack shows up in the mask.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Vinny wants to talk to Mr. Kotter, but he has to promise not to tell anybody. Gabe says his lips are sealed. Vinny says it's about Freddie and Vernajean. So then we know that this ties in with the phone call. And then Vinny says they're quitting school to get married. So that's more than Freddie said on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't even have to. In other words, he hasn't knocked her off.
Yeah.
So...
Which plays on the Whodunit episode where Rosalie pretended she was pregnant and now she has to marry the father. That's the morality that they have.
Exactly.
If you're going to get married as a teen, it's because the girl is pregnant.
Yep. But not in this case. Then we get a Romeo and Juliet thing going on. We'll get there too.
Yeah.
But Barbarino is trying desperately to preserve his cool because he does not want to be seen in a teacher's house.
Which will change.
Oh, that'll change big time. By the time he's hanging around just to be around the twins, just to see the babies. It'd be cool to help out with them. That'll change big time.
So Julie hides him in the bathroom.
Yes. Rosalie shows up in an amazing hat. I love her hat.
Yes.
Just got a note on her hat.
It's the Rosalie version of Vinny's outfit, but her hat is this gorgeous blue.
Yes. She's very Janis Joplin with the hat. And
And she says the same thing that Vinny did, shut the door because she doesn't want anybody to see her.
Yeah, but she's horrified too on behalf of Vernajean. Well, he's horrified on behalf of Freddie. She's horrified on behalf of Vernajean. She just wants Vernajean to throw her life down the toilet and marry some guy.
Yeah.
He's nice.
Oh, and Gabe tells Julie that the Late Late Show is a double feature tonight. I thought that was a cute joke.
That's a great line. He's so amused/bemused by this whole situation at this point. He's just like...
Yeah, he's not angry that they're coming by. It's just, this is entertaining to him.
Yeah. He's just watching the Sweathog Circus.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically at this point.
Like you said, Rosalie and Vinny are kind of mirror images.
Yeah.
And we'll find out later that Rosalie considers Vernajean her best friend. And
Exactly.
there was an episode where Vinny said that Juan was his best friend, but I kind of feel like the four of them are best friends. But yeah, so Rosalie has the same attitude, even though she was very recently pretending she wanted to get married.
Exactly, which is hilarious. Oh, honey.
Yeah.
But, he tells her it's okay, then somebody else comes to the door. They try to figure out what to do with her. They shove her in the bathroom, and then they go, no, wait, you can't do that. Vinny's in there.
Yeah.
That's okay. I love her. So, no.
Yeah, the smile when she...
She's going to go for that makeout session in the Kotter bathroom no matter what.
Yes. I have to point out, the Cotters, for some reason, have a growth chart with a cartoony-looking kangaroo like they got it from a pediatrician's office. If you look at the quick glimpse in the bathroom.
Very random. I wonder if that's from a previous tenant.
Oh.
Or they just stole it or something that's happening there.
Maybe it's covering up cracks or something.
Possibly. Or it's a load-bearing measuring tape. Could be anything.
So then it's Juan.
Yeah.
And this is very deliberately a duck soup tribute because he's entering backwards and he's got Groucho glasses on the back of his hair, and that's like Harpo in a scene where Harpo is playing a spy.
Yeah.
This is his idea of subtlety. And there's definitely ways that Juan is like Chico and ways that he's like Harpo, and it's just very overt in this episode. But he's also got a fedora and trench coat. Even though nobody coordinated their outfits, they are coordinated. Everybody, even when they disagree.
Somebody saw a spy movie and it spread through the school.
Yeah. He tells Kotter to close the door after Kotter has closed the door.
Yep.
He doesn't break when the audience is squealing and whistling. Robert Hedges tends to stay into character better than the others so far.
Yeah.
He's just really in the zone. I haven't seen him break yet.
I know Rob Palillo did a lot of stage work, so he's probably immune to that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, that makes a difference, I think. Yeah, I don't know their full backgrounds. I just know that most of them are very new to TV.
They all are. They got fresh faces for this show. Deliberately, so they would look like actual high school students.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why when it became a breakout show, that energy, similar with Laverne and Shirley, were, I mean, they have more of a background, but when they became famous, it was huge and fresh.
And none of them were well known. All of them were pretty fairly fresh faces and hadn't had major breaks.
Yeah, and definitely on the Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Kotter is going to do his Groucho imitation.
Yes, he is.
And this whole thing is very Marx Brothers-ish, with people going in and out of doors and windows and that kind of farce.
Yeah.
Very deliberate.
Yeah. My actual note on this is just put them all in the closet. It's symbolic. Multiple reasons. Happy Pride. This won't be out in actual June, but it's in June. We're filming this in June. So
yeah, it won't go out till October. But yeah, Happy Pride. Well, you missed the previous episode where Kotter dances with Mr. Woodman.
Oh, gee.
Because Arnold catches them hugging.
There's got to be a shipper out there somewhere for the two of them. Someone's got to be into it. Somebody's got to be into that. I haven't met them yet, but I know somebody must be into that.
Goodman or Water. Yeah, I don't know what the ship name is.
Good water.
So Juan tells the Cotters that Freddie and Vernajean want to get married, and they both laugh and have trouble acting surprised.
Yeah.
You can see Marcia Strassman is really having fun with this, the way she guesses that Juan wants Mr. Kotter to stop them.
Yes.
It's just building, and
And that's where they're just gently trolling them.
Yes. Which you can't blame them for.
And when Kotter asks him how he feels about it, he doesn't know how he feels about it. He doesn't know if he has a positive or negative feeling about it.
I thought that was kind of nice, and that felt in character for one, that he doesn't want to tell people what to do. He says everybody's been messing with their head, and he just wants Kotter to get people to leave them alone. That's very Juan.
Yeah, a nice twist. I love that each person here has a different motivation. That's
yeah. And so even though you've got the farce, you've also got character moments. And Rosalie and Vinny are more controlling people. They like to move people around the chessboard, and Juan isn't. He'll threaten people, but he doesn't want to control them.
Exactly.
We get another knock. One wants to hide in the bathroom, and he starts walking
In the
backwards.
closet.
Yeah,
Yes.
with the basketball.
Yep, here comes Horseshack.
And then,
Horseshack, who is such a romantic. Yeah.
yes, but not in a romantic outfit. He's in a trench coat with a gorilla mask.
Yep, you can barely breathe in.
Like he'd been watching King Kong while everybody else was watching Casablanca.
Casablanca or fucking something like that. Oh, man.
Or Maltese Falcon.
Yep, Maltese Falcon. He has this famous laugh, which gets a cheer.
And you can see Strassman and Kaplan break.
Yeah.
Like they just have to kind of turn in on each other and rest on each other.
Yeah. They totally check each other. I totally noticed that. It was cute.
They're laughing more than the characters are.
And so he takes off his mask, and you can barely breathe in. And then he delivers the news.
Yeah, he doesn't know how them gorillas can stand it.
Honey. And then he delivers the news once again about Freddie and Vernajean.
Oh no, they delivered the news to him.
That's right.
Cotter says, "Don't tell me. Vernajean Williams and Freddie want to get married." And then Julie jumps in and says, "And you want Mr. Cotter to either stop them or leave them alone."
That's right.
And he said, "That is truly amazing," with that Horseshack delivery.
Yeah, really amazing. He is so here for anybody falling in love and getting married, which is really sweet considering how many stepfathers he's been subjected to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks it's very romantic. He wants Vinny to stop... No, he wants Mr. Cotter to stop Vinny from stopping the wedding. So he's starting to rebel against Vinny.
Yep.
And in the Whodunit episode, he was ready to get married to Rosalie after one date.
Yep. And he is the only sweat hog who ends up getting married in the show.
Yeah.
He ends up falling in love and marrying.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. So Vinny yells, "Hey!" from the bathroom.
Yeah. Which can be as ambiguous as he needed to be.
And Gabe makes his second Tidy Bowl Man reference of the series.
Yes.
Do you remember Tidy Bowl commercials?
Yes. We've had those in 2000 flushes. Still had all those in the 80s.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I have a note here. The neighbors are remarkably tolerant of the noise considering it's around midnight.
Yeah.
One of them will complain, but I mean, considering they've got all this knocking and people running around
Yeah.
on a weeknight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, compared to how much noise you get in New York City,
Yeah.
we're technically in Brooklyn. Here's how much noise we get in Brooklyn. People having normal conversations like that isn't going to be too disturbing.
Yeah.
Unless you're close by, which is why a close neighbor complains. But yes.
So there's nobody left to show up because Mr. Woodman just has a little bit at the end, so Julie knows that it's got to be Vernajean and Freddie.
Yep.
And she asks what they're going to do, and Gabe says he thinks they're going to have to look for a bigger apartment.
Which is a great line. I love that line.
Yeah, so I like they're having these little couple moments even in the middle of the insanity.
Yeah, me too. It's very sweet when they connect.
They're very much a team in this episode, comedically and otherwise.
Yep, they have to be because the kids are going rogue as heck. It's two of them against the world.
Yeah. And speaking of, Freddie and Vernajean come in. So I just want to mention a little bit about Vernee Watson's background. She was born in 1949, so she's 4 years older than Lawrence-Hilton Jacobs. She's still alive as of this recording. Unlike some of the cast, she did have a handful of credits at the time. She played Woman in Cotton Comes to Harlem in 1970. She also did Room 222, an episode of That's My Mama, and I think one or two other things. And she would do a dozen more Welcome Back Kotter episodes. She's had a very long and busy career afterwards, including to name just a few of the shows. 44 episodes of Carter Country, 1977 to 79, which kind of explains why she left Kotter. 5 episodes of The Love Boat. 15 episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. 18 episodes of The Young and the Restless. 9 episodes of Days of Our Lives. 5 episodes of The Big Bang Theory. 87 episodes of, I don't know how to pronounce this, Bob Hart's Abishola?
Yeah, it's a really good sitcom on CBS. I recently ended last season.
Oh, okay.
Very good stuff.
What does she play on that?
She plays one of Abishola's nurse friends.
Okay, yeah, because she often plays a nurse, including on over 200 episodes so far of General Hospital.
Which she won a Daytime Emmy for.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, she won a Daytime Emmy and either Best Guest Star, I think it was Best Guest Star. Good for her. She's still going.
Yeah, she's very good.
Still going. Good for her.
We'll talk about this more as we go along, but you can really see her acting chops in this episode.
Yes.
But I like when people kind of match. So she's in jeans and a red sweater and a colored floral top. And he's got his red track jacket, so he's wearing red as well. And a green shirt and black jeans. And they're holding hands and they look a little self-conscious. So right from the first moment, they are this young couple. They occupy these characters. We already know Freddie, but she has to come in here and sell this from the first moment.
Exactly. And it's very sweet, the hand holding, the way they look at each other, all fits.
Yeah. Yeah, I buy them as a couple. As a kid and now, I thought they had really nice chemistry.
Absolutely. So they come in, they sit down, and Freddie and Vernajean begin to explain to Gabe and to Julie why the heck they're getting...
And Freddie wonders if they came at a bad time.
Yeah, which is a great line.
And Gabe says, no, they were just spending a quiet evening at home.
Yeah, which is funny. It's a good one.
And he asks them if there's anything new.
Yep, and then they spill the news. And it turns out that they're getting married because Vernajean is moving to Staten Island with her family, and Vernajean's father hates Freddie.
Yeah.
So they are planning to get married to preserve their union to avoid being separated permanently.
Yeah.
By the move.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever explain in later episodes why she's still in Brooklyn. She's just there. So maybe the family decide not to move for some reason.
Yeah, perhaps the move fell through, or maybe a relative they were going to look after died. We don't know. But she continues to be part of Cotter's class. Not to spoil things too much.
I don't know if this was a test episode, but my guess is that the public responded well to her. And I'm sure the powers that be could see she was good in the role, and so they kept her. Instead of it being just a one-off girlfriend, which we get a lot of in this series.
Very much so.
I looked it up. Staten Island is 2 hours away by public transportation. So I could see Freddie, I don't think, has a car. And so I think that would be a big deal.
Exactly.
When you're 16. 2 hours is a long.
They're teenagers at the mercy of either the bus system or the subway system. They don't have many choices.
Or getting Arnold to drive his stepfather's taxi.
At least Arnold's stepfather lets it happen. Doesn't take the taxi if they need it.
Yeah. I don't know if we find out anything more, but like you said, the Romeo and Juliet thing, that Freddie doesn't get along with Vernajean's dad. And Vernajean says they're not supposed to see each other, and Freddie says that's kind of hard sitting in the same classroom.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine just trying to avert your eyes from somebody you love, or trying to learn about history and all that jazz?
Yeah. Yeah, in a very small class, about a dozen kids.
Yep, I can see you've never been to Staten Island. This is a great line about it not being in the world. But here comes a really great part where Gabe tries to, in a way, to talk them out of what they're doing by mentioning their marriages in the bowl of cherries, and actually ends up irritating Julie and ends up irritating themselves. But in a great twist, Freddie and Vernajean just think that they're fake fighting to make them break up. And it's not they're fake fighting, they're really annoying each other.
Yeah.
It's such a great scene.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of layers going on.
Oh, yeah.
We find out Julie bought Gabe the shirt. Like, he uses it as a hypothetical example that a wife buys a husband a shirt that's not attractive. You know, by 70 standards, it's not a bad shirt.
No, I think it's actually attractive on him.
But I could also see him not liking it.
Yep. It depends on how plain he wants to be.
The husband wears the shirt because he doesn't want to hurt the wife's feelings. And so Julie says he told her that he loved that shirt.
Yep.
And it cost $25, which is a lot. So I assume it's like a birthday or Christmas or something to go out and buy him a silk shirt.
Oh, especially for the late 70s, can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. And especially for them, where they're scraping by.
Exactly.
Then I was so happy. This was one of the, it was like when I got to the first Epstein's note. When I got to, this is the first time that they talk about Julie's tuna casserole. I was so happy. And the audience is obviously enjoying this, so then we get a running joke for the series. It's not just this thing of them arguing about her cooking. It becomes a runner.
Yeah, hilarious.
Prunes in a tuna casserole.
Yeah, this is a running gag. We constantly hear about how horrific cooking is. Specifically this tuna casserole, which she's extremely proud of, but nobody wants to eat.
Yeah.
And now we know why, because there's prunes in it. Prunes! Oh my goodness.
Vernajean says any fool can see they really love each other. Which is true. I mean, we saw earlier, it is convincing, but part of that love is that they do have these stupid arguments.
Exactly. You know, they're ultimately dumb arguments that they can recover from, which is good.
Yeah. Arnold and some of the others yell right about it's only play acting, and Vernajean asks about it, and Gabe says it's mice.
Yeah, which is funny. Oh, my goodness.
And we find out that Freddie and Vernajean want Mr. Kotter to tell their parents.
Exactly, which is like a bullet dodger that puts a bullet straight between Gabe's eyes. Like, Sheesh, can
Yeah.
that be put in charge of having to do that?
Because the parents would blame Mr. Cotter.
Oh yeah, and the smut in the school. That's like,
Yeah.
but there's no smut in the school. He said, not yet. But it wouldn't be his fault. Their fault for deciding to do this.
So he'd rather buy them a toaster.
Yes. He is now in the position of trying to talk these kids out of doing it. Pure Gabe fashion.
Freddie thinks they can just con a judge, and Gabe is like, oh, that's a stupid idea. That's as stupid as running off to Maryland, where there's no waiting period.
As I put it right here, the wrong thing happened.
Yeah.
About Maryland. The wrong thing happened.
Yeah. So, yeah, they love the idea.
Yes, they do. They're even more committed to this whole idea, this whole marriage. Gabe is even more horrified.
Yeah. Because just like when he was trying to help Rosalie when she was allegedly pregnant, he's made the situation worse by getting involved.
Yeah, because the kids completely read how he feels about it the wrong way. So then they're even more determined more than ever about the time they leave to be together.
When Vernajean says goodbye, she says goodbye to the mice. I always thought of Vernajean as a smart cookie, like it just kind of sharp. I mean, obviously it's not mice, but just her delivery on that was very Vernajean.
Yeah, she knows the score.
Yeah.
She and Freddie both know the score in a lot of ways, so that's why they're very good for each other.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Both very smart.
Yeah. So Julie imitates the hip handshakes that Freddie and Vernajean did, and she calls him Super Dude, like they did. And she says, way to go, Super Dude, you just talked them over 2 state lines.
Poor Gabe. You gotta feel bad for Gabe in this situation.
Yeah.
Well, because he's supposed to do at this point, but yes. Enter all the rest of the sweat hogs.
And now Vinny has his trench coat stylishly draped over his shoulder, and I wrote, what went on in the bathroom?
Making out, like I said, making out.
Something that involved taking off his trench coat at the least.
Yeah. Like, can you blame her? Like, hey, go for it.
No, I don't really blame either of them.
Yeah. Alright, you just go for it. But know where the line is with Vinny. And then he declares that bad to be friendly with the teacher. And don't look that way, Mr. Cotter.
Yeah, Juan. Juan is always the realist.
Yeah.
And he says, you see, in this vast universe of ours, people are divided into 2 groups. Us and them. You're them. And
Yeah.
Gabe is genuinely hurt by this.
Exactly.
First they weren't confiding in him, and now they're mad at him because he didn't stop the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Or in Arnold's case, that he didn't form a ceremony in the room.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Nobody trusts him. Nobody likes him. He's heartbroken. I trust you, Mac. Go to sleep. Great line.
Yeah, the guy upstairs. I sound like.
I trust you, Mac. Go to sleep. It's a great line.
Yeah, Cotter yells at the window, you hear that, Bensonhurst? My father was right. I can't be trusted.
Yes. The whole bit works as a set piece and it flows together
Yeah.
very well. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah,
I like it.
it just...
And,
I love this scene. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Wonderful ensemble, and just, okay, this person leaves the room, and then this one comes in, and then just everybody playing off of each other. And that was a nice little button on the scene. The unseen neighbor. You can just see as it's about to fade out, it looks like Gabe is going over to Julie for comfort. At least that's in my head. That's what happened.
Wow.
And I'm sure she was sympathetic.
She loves him. She'll provide it.
Yeah. It's different than Whodunit, where I kind of felt sorry for Julie getting thrown into this. She's mostly having fun with it. I think she is worried about Freddie and Vernajean, but she knows Gabe will figure something out. I really like Julie interacting with the sweat hogs, and that's something that we gradually get more and more of.
Exactly.
Even though she's not in the next scene, she got to impact it, so... So we're back in the classroom, and Kotter is going to come up with a solution. I want to mention real quick, because I always count the extras. There are 4 extra boys. There's a fluffy-haired boy that we've had before. There's a boy with long hair who wears a cap. There's a possibly new brunette boy and a redhead that looked definitely new. There's only 2 extra girls this time. A brunette white girl I'm not sure if we've had before. The black girl from, I think, the previous episode. Because I was wondering about, are they going to keep any female African-American extras once they bring on Vernajean? And they do, at least for this episode.
Yes. It's nice to see some diversity in the room.
Yeah. So this is the next day, and my guess is that it's Friday. I think that Vernajean and Freddie were planning to elope after school. Because of the way they're dressed, they're a little more formal. She's got a green dress, he's got a blazer, she's holding a red rose. So I don't know if there was like something maybe in the original draft that got cut. I just felt like they're ready to go over to Maryland once the school bell rings.
Yes. But Gabe does have an actual plan here. He has a plan here, and he figures that he is gonna give them a taste of their own medicine and have them act out a marriage.
But he does a little trust exercise first.
Yes, he does do that in their trust.
I think at that time, I mean, now it's kind of a cliche, but I think at that time people weren't as familiar with the trust exercise of falling and having people catch you.
Yeah.
So it definitely catches the sweat hogs off guard, but they do catch him. He goes and stands on a desk in the back of the room. And he says he learned this from the person he trusts most in the world, his wife. So one asks if every day Kotter goes home and he and Mrs. Kotter fall off the furniture at each other.
I love that line. Oh, I love that line. You and Mrs. Kotter fall off the furniture together? It's so great. It's such a great line. I love that.
So his point is that the trust between a husband and wife is the strongest kind of trust there is. They spend a lot of time in this school teaching them about math, English, and science, but not about being married.
You're gonna change that today.
And then Juan is very cynical in this scene.
Yes. He's just like...
He says you can't learn about marriage in the classroom.
Yeah. You gotta pick it up on the streets. You gotta pick it up one-on-one.
Yeah.
Rosalie and Vinny abstained from the experiment.
Yes.
Anchor contributed to the delinquency of a minor.
Yeah, that was a great line. I was wondering, since Rosalie's one of your favorite characters, what did you think of Rosalie's reason for not participating?
Made me laugh.
She says Vernajean is her dearest friend,
Best
but
friend.
Rosalie does not play supporting roles. And she's all diva about it.
Darling, you know I don't play supporting. It's so great. Her delivery is just top notch. I love that the way she delivers that line.
Yeah.
She'll understand that because she knows her. Oh my goodness. Korshak wants to contribute so badly to the ceremony.
Yeah.
And Vinny won't let him.
But he rebels by doing the wedding march on his lunchbox.
At the top of his lungs, yelling it. Yeah, which is great. Da 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 da! Full rebellion.
And then Kotter has Epstein conduct the ceremony.
Yeah, in a full Jewish ceremony, which is not surprising.
Yeah.
He goes full rabbi, and to the point where Gabe makes a Fiddler on the Roof joke.
And Freddie and Vernajean are dancing, and they're doing the bump, which was really popular around mid-70s.
Yeah, yeah. If he says anything bad, I'll let you know.
Oh, yeah, Freddie gets offended when one wishes them mazel tov.
Yeah, he doesn't know what that means. It's like, that's good.
Yeah, and because both Gabe and Juan are Jewish, so Gabe would know.
Yeah.
Instead of the wine glass,
Yes.
the traditional Jewish step in.
Yep, they break his coffee mug. Handkerchief. Well, I was drinking too much coffee anyway.
Yeah, I like the delivery on that one.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
So that's time for the honeymoon.
Yes, it is. I love the way they try to rapidly progress through this marriage. So they get all the experiences of what it's like to be married.
Yeah, it's a 5-second honeymoon, so it's just enough time for them to kiss.
Yeah.
And they both look disappointed. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, which is funny. That was really funny. Oh my goodness.
And then it's time to have children.
And Arnold becomes the baby.
Because he says, I think I was an accident.
Yeah, I think I was an accident. Then he becomes an orphan. It's so sad.
Yeah.
He's crying, and they make a joke about him being an ugly baby. And then slowly but surely, Vernajean and Freddie break down under the stress of it all.
They're in their one-room apartment when all of a sudden they get a visit from an unexpected guest. And it's Mr. Kotter as the unexpected guest. So he is Vito Kornfeld from the Strong Arm Rental Agency.
Which is a name. That is a name.
And they're 12 years behind on the rent.
Yes, exactly. There's much stress and much freaking out over there. They have no cash. They have no prospects.
Yeah, he says he had a few business setbacks, couple of bad investments.
That's another great line. But he's gonna take back the apartment. And probably the baby. Poor little Arnold.
I don't know how yeah. Vernajean says it's not Arnold's fault that Freddie can't support them. And Freddie says that if they hadn't gotten married, he wouldn't have had to quit school. And she yells that it's not her fault. She got pregnant.
Oh.
They're getting very into the drama. She says that she doesn't know why they got married in the first place. And then we get, I would say, the first true moment of vulnerability for Freddie in the series.
Yes. I actually noticed that. Oh, vulnerable Freddie. Yeah. He's afraid he's going to lose her. He's afraid she's going to find another guy who's better than him.
Yeah, in Staten Island.
He's out on Staten Island. And thus, a real serious moment was really good.
Yeah, and I like that we got this crazy comedy and this improv, and then it turns
Bittersweet.
Kind of dark.
Yeah, kind of bittersweet.
But it's dark and sweet at the same time. Yeah.
I think I just became an orphan for
Yeah. Little orphan Arnold.
Oh, honey. Little orphan Arnold. And Vinny's really excited because Gabe broke them up. Hey, good work.
Yeah, he compliments Kotter on being sneaky.
Sneaky, yep.
Vernajean tells Freddie she promised to be true to him and doesn't he trust her? And Kotter says he doesn't believe this. He was worried about the class trusting him, and they don't even trust each other.
Exactly.
In the first few episodes, the class tended to be united. Whodunit is one where it kind of fractures, but previous episodes, like where Freddie is a basketball star and Vinny is running for class president, the group is united, sometimes behind one person, their representative, and in this one, everybody starts to fall apart. Vinny and Rosalie don't want Freddie and Vernajean to get married, and then Juan and Arnold have their own perspective, and then we've got this scene of their marriage where it's falling apart and Arnold has a broken home.
And everything's shredded, yep.
Yeah. So I think the episode is interesting from that perspective, just in context of the show. Yes, it's not all one united front anymore.
Well, the very first ones were our friend turns against friend.
Yeah. Which would happen a lot more later, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Vinny is happy because Kotter broke up the marriage. Arnold is sad because his parents broke up. Juan is kind of philosophical about it. He thanks Mr. Kotter for the opportunity and says he's also available for bris and bar mitzvahs. I love Juan.
It's a great line. It's a beautiful line. Beautiful line.
Although the idea of him performing a bris is actually pretty disturbing, but it's hilarious.
I know. I would not let any of these boys touch a sharp implement. Not one of them.
And the baby. I'm sorry. And obviously, Freddie and Vernajean are not happy. Yep, no. And so they're the only two left in the room after everybody else files out.
Exactly.
Kotter asked Freddie why he didn't tell Vernajean how he felt before. And Freddie said he couldn't because it's just not cool to tell someone you're afraid of losing them. So I thought it was interesting. He could tell her that he loves her, but he can't tell her his insecurities.
Yes, he thinks he has to be cool and suave and slick around her.
Because that was one of the things in the earlier scene, they told the Kotters they're getting married because they love each other. I mean, that was part of it, and then the whole Staten Island thing. So, yeah, and Freddie being cool is very important to him. Like, even in the scene where he was talking to Vito Kornfeld, he did, "Hi there," which was his catchphrase, and so it's very smooth talking.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so here we kind of see what's underneath that. And then Vernajean, I just love her. She tells Freddie he wouldn't lose her. And he says, "You mean we don't have to get married now?" And she says, "Well, I'll take a rain check." And then he puts his arm around her. And I also notice he rubs her arm a little. So it's just very nice chemistry with them.
I know. It's really nice. The connection between them is adorable.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. She hands Gabe the rose and thanks him. I think they appreciate, even though this was kind of painful, and this was embarrassing that this happened in front of the whole class, but I think in the long run, they're glad that they went through this, and it was sort of like a weird therapy session, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So now Kotter has the rose, and he dances in his chair, like spinning it with his rose between his teeth.
Yeah, it's just pure hell. Woodman's reaction to everything is like...
We finally get Woodman in the last few minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
The mind snaps when you least expect it, doesn't it, Kotter?
There's us and there's them.
So he also believes in us and them, but he thinks that maybe Kotter is them as well. Because Kotter is so happy that he got through to the students. And he refers to Jacques Cousteau again. And I think there's a reference here to the song I Am Woman, because he says, "I am invincible, I am teacher."
Yeah.
And the audience gets that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that's like a women's lib song.
Yeah.
He's repurposed.
Yes, exactly. I am strong.
Yeah.
I am invincible. I am
exactly. And then Kotter does another Groucho imitation, because why not?
I actually said Groucho Marx impression.
Yes.
Is my note on this.
Yeah.
But you will get alcohol poisoning if you play that game while watching the show.
Yeah.
Watch the reference, drink!
Yeah, especially this episode.
And you will be on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts about that scene?
I thought it was really well done. I thought they handled the connection between Vernajean and Frey very well. I like seeing Gabe's ultimate connection, with the kids being kind of validated in its own way.
Yeah, well, the episode starts with him feeling like he's a bad teacher and they don't trust him, and so he gets this nice little moment of triumph. And so I can understand him doing the little rose dance.
Exactly. He's validated, and that's what's good. It's ultimately good. So the end of the episode, we had the tag. We get a Kotter family story.
Another of his uncles.
Uncle Buzz.
Which I assume is like a Buzz Aldrin reference.
Yeah, it has to be a Buzz Aldrin.
Because he was an astronaut.
Yep, dealing with a monkey partner.
Yes.
Every time he presses a button.
So it really doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the episode other than Arnold's monkey mask.
Yep, exactly. Feed the monkey.
Yeah.
Feed the monkey. Kind of rambles on, but he does make her laugh, so there you go. And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I think it's really super charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With each of these episodes, I'm giving a letter grade like in school, F- A+. You gave Whodunit an A-. What are your thoughts on this one?
This one is a solid B+. I don't enjoy it quite as much.
Okay.
But I also do enjoy it very much. And I really love Vernajean and Freddie. And I like the message here. I like the character notes. I like feeling and everything. It's a very good episode. Not as vital as Whodunit, but important.
So after I gave episode 4, Whodunit, a B+, there was a C+ episode, the weakest so far, but better than average. And then I really enjoyed No More Mr. Nice Guy, which is where Mr. Woodman and Mr. Kotter kind of flip. Woodman becomes nice and Kotter becomes relatively mean. And I gave that one an A-. It just really hit me right. But this one, I just fell in love with this episode from the beginning and had a wonderful time. Yeah, not perfect, but I gave it an A. It's just the one that I've enjoyed the most. It's just fun and funny. The energy is really good. There's, I think, just the right balance of catchphrases with like Arnold's laugh and what, where, and all that, but not done to death. And you can see or hear the studio audience just starting to really perk up and catch on to things, but not in a obnoxious way. So it's not stale. It's still very fresh and new. Things are just really clicking. Yeah. The way everybody played off of each other and everybody got to do something. So I really like that. And it is poignant. I could see this episode going bad, but I felt like it was handled well. I liked what Vernee Watson brought out in Lawrence-Hilton Jacobs. I think that they not only play a convincing couple, but I felt like their acting together was really nice, including the scene where the two characters are supposed to be improvising themselves as a married couple. So I just really thought she was a wonderful addition to the cast. Rosalie obviously was not front and center like she is in Whodunit, but she still had some good things to do. And you were talking before about how Gabe and Julie are sort of the neighborhood parents, and you really get that in this episode.
Yes.
That they're sort of like the aunt and uncle that everybody can drop in on at midnight, and in some ways they're better than parents because you can be more honest with them. I really like that. Yes. Would have liked a little more Mr. Woodman, but at least he came in and he was very Mr. Woodman.
Yes.
So I thought the writing was strong. I liked that we got basically 2 long scenes that got to play out and to just do everything that you could have, instead of some of the more choppy episodes. So, although those can be fun in a different way, but it felt more like theater to me, I think. Yeah. More like a play. So I like that.
Yeah, I can see why it works for me that way. It works for me too. It's not my absolute favorite, but it definitely works.
Yeah. No, I mean, B+ is still a great grade, so yeah. And I also like to pick a head of the class, which is the character who I most enjoyed watching. It could be the center of the episode or just somebody who every time they were on screen, they were the most interesting. Not necessarily fun, although often it is, but just who contributed the most. Like if Mr. Woodman really wowed you in his 1 minute on screen, he would be your head of the class. Who would you pick? Well, I mean, he was good, but because there have been times I've been tempted to say Judy Borden, because I just love Judy Borden every time she shows up with her New York accent. Mr. Kotter!
Yeah. I love Judy. I remember shipping Judy and Vinny.
There is an episode where they date, and I don't think it. I think it's just a one-off ship. But that's down the road.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, off track. She's not in this episode. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Who would you pick for this episode?
I'm kind of been a three-way tie for this.
Oh, yeah.
One has that wonderful show-stopping long sequence where he's marrying Vernajean and Freddie, and he's so good.
Yeah. Like, the character has been waiting to do this his whole life. Like, he's been watching all these Jewish weddings, and he's good to go.
Yes, he's boffo.
He doesn't care that they're not Jewish.
Yeah, he's boffo and just goes for it. He's just enjoying the heck out of it, doing everything. And I really enjoy him.
He did have my favorite costume.
Yeah.
Of the Trenchcoat Gang. He was my favorite.
Rosalie's little line in there, I kind of got to give her a nod for that. Really, Freddie is so good. I love Vernajean and love the introduction to her, too. So it's really hard for me to pick one.
Yeah. I usually start out, I list all the characters, and then I drop them out. Like, okay, Mr. Woodman is last place. And well, that's the thing. It is just a really strong episode for a lot of the characters. Yeah. Julie was fun.
Yeah.
I'm going with Freddie.
Yeah.
It's not just it's about him, but I felt because we got more to him, there's this scene where he comes in and he's in puppy love and he thinks he should get married because he's insecure, but we don't know that part yet, and then we find that out. And then there's also him portraying himself as a failure husband. I felt like it was his episode, but I do feel that Vernajean is the runner-up. And I could even argue that he's the runner-up and she's most, but I felt like there was a little bit more to what's going on with him. I mean, like I said, I think she comes in and establishes a character, but we don't really know much about her yet, and I don't know that we ever find out much more. She's sort of just, not to dismiss her, but she's the girlfriend, and we don't know the other sides to her yet. We find out she's Rosalie's best friend, allegedly.
Yeah.
But so that would be the only reason why I would say runner-up, that she's mostly reacting in this episode. And I felt like he was a little more active.
Yes.
But she's wonderful, smart, warm, funny character. So I was just really happy to get to her first episode. And I wish that we had more of her and Rosalie overlapping. I mean, again, it's a very male show, but it would have been interesting to get more of a conversation with them. I don't think they even talked directly to each other in this episode.
It's kind of hard to pick out that right. Yeah.
Well, like, we got a scene with Julie and Rosalie in Whodunit, and we don't really get the equivalent of that. I don't know if Julie and Vernajean ever have a one-on-one conversation. I don't think so. I think Vernajean is more sort of part of the gang.
Yeah, exactly.
I can totally understand it's a hard one to pick out. It's not an obvious episode where no more Mr. Nice Guy. I chose Mr. Woodman because it's not only about him, but there's just so many great things happening with that character, and he's very funny, and we get to see different aspects of him, and so that was an easy one. And Whodunit, when you were on before, was obviously Rosalie. She's the center. She's the driving force. She's the most interesting character in it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, would you like to do a little promotion?
We are basically done with Night After Night, the podcast about Laverne and Shirley. Every episode has been covered. We just have a couple of wrap-up videos to do. Otherwise, that can be found publishing articles all over the place, reviews. Follow me at X under That Bouvier Girl. Follow me at Night After Night PC on X as well. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are everywhere. Find us. Come on, find us. What about you? Promo you.
I'm just on YouTube and Blue Sky right now. I'm pretty much have phased out my Twitter. So I'm keeping it simple.
Understandably.
Yeah. Down the road, we will be collaborating on Bosom Buddies podcast.
Yes, it will be. Very soon. Very, very soon. It's exciting.
So next time, I'll be looking at an episode called One of Our Sweat Hogs is Missing.
They really got some mileage out of that reference. When it comes to ABC sitcoms. This also shows up in Laverne and Shirley. Yep.
Yeah, because there's two of our weirdos are missing on Laverne and Shirley. Pretty obvious who the weirdos are in that case, but the missing sweat hog, unless you remember the episode, may be harder to guess. And in the meantime, don't run off to Maryland.
Yep. And for heaven's sake, feed the monkey! Feed the monkey! Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Cause we got him on the spot.